Hello, I am Centimus Prime, and here I will be unboxing a bootleg of the Hero Factory Breakout next. So to start things off, here we have the package that just came in. And yes, I'm still doing these Hero Factory bootlegs. They still provide interesting things, and they also do provide more pieces. even even if the sets as a whole aren't that good. And we have skids here propping the baggie up, and as you can see, it's just a Ziploc baggie with the instructions poking through the side, showing through the side. So with that, let's now get into the unboxing itself. So starting off, you can just unzip that so we can pour out the contents. Okay, set that aside. Here we have the insides of the baggie. So starting off, yeah, we do have the instructions, but we also have Nex's helmet piece, just loose, separate from the other parts from the bag. Yeah, I do see a little bit of dirtiness on the inside of it, but the outside seems fine. Now regardless, these parts are most likely gonna be cleaned regardless, but yeah, not looking too bad. I do see that the details on the mask are way more crisp than some bootleg Hero Factory sets I've seen. A tiny, an ever so slight bit of flashing on this side of the mold for some reason, but that can be sanded off or something. That's not really a big deal. Yeah, that's not really a big deal. Overall, the helmet, doesn't feel like it's gonna crumple in my hands. And as far as these bits off the side, these antenna pieces off the side, I feel like these can reasonably stay on. I don't think that these will break off unless I really try to break them off. But yeah, the helmet piece is fine. Here are the instructions. They're flip out thingy. There's there's the instructions. It even has the part list as well. There's a look at the back. But yeah, here's the part list. Not looking too bad. And here's the other set advertised, of course, being XT4. Huh. The bones shown here appear to be white. That's no wait, that's fixed. No, on this side they seem to be gray. They're gray. Whereas on this side, the bones that are shown here are just straight up white. Yeah, if you look, you can see that the bones are white on this step, whereas the other ones, they're more gray. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, even looking at that's gray next to the white. What's the other? No, it seems to be more gray. Oh, that's weird. But it shouldn't be too difficult. But yeah, with that aside, let's now get into the unboxing of the parts themselves. Let's get this thing open. Get the parts out. And there we have that. Boom. Here are the parts. And I going through the parts don't, first time feeling through the parts, these parts, they don't feel too bad. I am liking how crisp some of the details are on these parts. Not looking too bad. Not looking too bad at all. Like even for more intricate things, like the handcuff pieces, that's looking that's not looking too bad. Looking a-okay. Now, plastic, yeah, plastic not looking too bad. Here's the hero core piece. Of course, like the core itself is molded and it's molded in white, but like the gray that you would expect for the background of the core piece is not painted. But I've had other sets like that. Here's like the hand piece. Looking, yeah, looking really nice. Something I'm really happy to see is the antenna piece. Unfortunately, I do see a tiny bit of stressing on like how like here. I'm gonna have to be really careful with that. But it's nice to get like this antenna piece. That's nice. Even got like a exceptionally shiny Zamor sphere. Interesting. Should fit fine. Like we got like the bone pieces and all that. The gray on the bones. Here are the gray bones. These are nice to get, and comparing them to the official gray, it is darker, but it's still close enough to the light gray that I'm not mad by it. Yeah, very very nice. Now, recolor. There are some interesting recolors and weird things in here. Like, for instance, we have this part, which is in here in red, is really supposed to be black as shown here, but it's here it's red. That's not too bad. Got this like minifigure accessory piece. That's cool to have. Here are the feet, and as shown in the instructions, they should be orange. And that's how they are in the official set. Let's bring Skids back so I can stand this up. So yeah, like not only does he come with white feet, but the feet are looking pretty nasty. Looks like he stepped in cow patties. Those really need, well, all of this needs to be cleaned, but those in particular either need to be cleaned or tossed aside. Got this hose, which is really interesting to me because unlike because in the instructions it's supposed to be this clear one with this light neon green strand molded through it. Here we don't have that. Instead, we have this sort of bluish, clear bluish hose piece with a little bit of purple at the ends. And like it's more visible here. Like here, it's more visible. Like that this end is moving more towards lavender, but like at this end, it's slightly more purplish than like the center of it. That's an interesting. That's an interesting red color. That's really cool. Shame there's only one. But the most interesting thing here to me is this. This dude not only does he come with a spare like Nyx helmet, it's in silver. That is really cool. No, yeah, yeah, and the details do pop out really nicely for the silver one. There's even like this, whoops, and the swirlingness is not not looking too bad, and it looks fairly clean despite me wanting to wash after this video regardless. Oh, very nice. Here's the headpiece. There's a bit of more flash molding there into the middle of the face, but yeah, like overall, it does have all the pieces necessary to. Yeah, overall, it does have the pieces necessary to put this guy together. Let's go ahead and try it. And I'm gonna, yeah, like, I'm gonna now go ahead and put this next together, and and I'll let you know about the tolerances and stuff when I put it together. Okay? Okay. So nothing broke yet, fortunately. So with this guy put together, I now have like a reasonable idea on all of this guy's, on all of the like joint and like part tolerances on this guy, and I will say it's a bit like tight and yeah, it's a bit tight and creaky, but nothing feels loose, which is nice. Now putting the green head in did stress the green socket out a little bit, but it is a Quintorian head, and even the official ones aren't really known for standing the test of time. As I guessed, the Zamor Spheres fits in just fine. No, like tolerance wise, for its own thing, ain't too bad. The gray bones do bend an adequate amount. They don't bend as much as I would personally like, but they do bend a pretty good amount. So there is that. And like there are things that do feel a little bit too tight or probably don't really fit correctly. Like the shoulder pad is barely being held on because I cannot like put that in. I can't tell if it's the pegs or the armor shell. Let me try it again, but with a different one. Tolerances are a bit weird. And then as for the printing on the torso, the molding is fine. That's good. The printing is a little bit more red than I would like, but still within the range of orange. It's just a little bit out of place when compared to that. And speaking of like colors being off and stuff, let's go ahead and bring in a figure full of official pieces for fair to see how well it's it is compatible, how well the compatibility is, because that is something I do test here. So for like axle like holes, I have this as like a test, as like a testing thing. Then as for like joints and figures and parts and stuff, colors and stuff, I'd like to show you the the necks I've had for the necks I've had put together for a while now as basically just a stand-in until I get a nicer until I was able to get parts for a nicer necks. So right here are these two. Now note this ain't going to be a review on the set itself, but I am able to like, I guess I can be able to like do like a separate video on a review if you liked if if you like, you can drop that down in the comments if you're interested in that. But in terms of part stuff, let's see. Like starting off with the the axles and stuff are a bit tighter. Starting off with the colors, the orange, the bootleg. Yeah, so here's the bootleg. Here's the official. The bootleg is a bit brighter and is a little bit more and allows for a little bit more light to show through than the official one. Now on camera it doesn't look too bad, but you can tell a difference. The difference is way more obvious. Yeah, the difference is way more obvious in like in person, but it's still like within the range of being able to use them. Again, here's that with the armor piece, which is not as obvious, but still like you can probably tell. Like, it's actually like a bit more difficult to tell on camera with these two pieces, but in person, I can just barely make out the difference. So with the armor pieces, it's almost indistinguishable. For some reason, the helmet is a bit more obvious. Now, I could have brought like a silver piece of some kind to compare the color of this head, but you know, this is like a pretty convincing silver. Very nice. And in terms of this part fitting in, it fits on very nicely. It's a bit tight, but I'd rather have it being a little bit too tight than a little bit too loose. Speaking of tightness, let's try to put this piece on an official part. And what do you know? It fits. It's a bit tight, but it does fit. And I think I can just about take it off without breaking. Hopefully. There we go. So, the tolerance on this is a bit tight, but it should be fine. And comparing it to the official one, it's not doing too bad. Like, it's very comparable to other gunmetal pieces. And the white, as you can expect, is ever so slightly more creamy, but it should still be fine. Not, but overall, not looking too bad. Now, let's compare. Now, let's try adding. Let's try bones and how the bones compare. So, try and put this hand on here. Fits great. That's good. That's good. Now, trying to attach the socket onto official ball joint. Fits nicely. That's good. Now, fitting the official socket into the ball joint. Yeah, weirdly enough, you get a little bit more range than you get if you use the bootleg socket. Actually, no, like on this one's fine. I guess that's just with the larger bones. Okay. I am like making a little bit of a mess here. Oh yeah, that's right. So I need to like compare more stuff. Oh, that one's a little bit tighter. That still slides out very nicely. Now, test of fitting an official armor piece on a bootleg ball joint. That fits nicely. It fits good. That's nice. That is nice. Now, excuse me as I put the stuff back on the respective figures and just going to attach on the silver one because that gives it a little more distinction. And there we go, we have those back together. And yeah, like the only thing that's not really fitting really well is the bootleg armor attachment onto the bootleg shells. It doesn't seem that any of these shells can fit onto this bootleg. But how about official pieces? Because we do have this hero core that that has the official connection. And trying to fit that on. Like it fits, like this antenna piece fits well there. But unfortunately, the armor shells are just a bit too tight. You see? So this is fine in terms of tolerances, but it's the armor shells that need more work done. Honestly, need to like either drill out a more suitable connection or something to fix the tolerances on the peg holes on this. Because while it fits well on this because this is a more rubbery piece, it cannot work for the armor piece. Which is fine enough. But overall, it is pretty good. The parts are really nice to have, even if they are bootlegs. Nice that it has all of the pieces in most of the right colors, and even some additional stuff in colors some additional stuff I didn't really expect. That's really pleasant. Let's go ahead and move that off to the side so we can wrap this up. Overall, this one is, to be honest, not the worst. To be honest, despite the weird tolerances of the armor pieces, it's not the worst thing I've experienced, but it is like on the lower side, I think, because a good portion of the pieces, in this case the armor shells, aren't exactly up to can't really fit the pieces correctly, unfortunately. But overall, most of the pieces do fit good, and the armor shells, while the peg holes are a bit too tight for the tolerances, the socket of the armor pieces do work well. The bones are fine. The bones are actually like pretty tight. The bones are good. The bones are good. The armor could be better, but overall the armor is usable. Well, like the attachments and stuff are doing great. Or not, well, I should say not doing too bad, because again, they aren't perfect, but they do work. And that's the parts do work, the parts do fit, and that's really all I really want from these bootlegs and off-brand bricks and pieces. I just want these parts to work with the official Lego stuff and not break. Those are like my two things for me. I want them to be compatible with Lego with Lego pieces, and I also want them to not break in my hands. And as far as the back goes, this one's not doing too bad. And with that, I think that'll be it for this unboxing. If you enjoyed this video, consider to like and subscribe, and maybe even comment if you want. And of course, I will be posting again sooner or later.